Hi.
I've never been so up and close with Peaches.
Right.
Christ. That's kind of a swear word, Peaches. Christ.
Yes, it is.
Sorry. Hey everybody, this is Mike Anders and we're back with another episode of This Town, San Francisco, and I'm here with none other than Peaches Christ.
Hi.
Superstar.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, you are, I've been thinking about this since I found out I'm doing the interview. You are like old school. I mean,
Without
OG,
the school.
without the school or the education or the GED.
Yeah. No, just old.
No, but as far as like, I was thinking about drag queens in general and drag performers, and like you are from a time when you've put in work and you've put in years to create and build what is Peaches Christ.
Yes, it's true. It's my 20th anniversary in San Francisco this year, and I started doing drag maybe a year before I moved here.
Right.
So Peaches is like old enough to drink now.
That is frightening. Because drag queens, I'm producing drag queens, so just throwing it out there, but there's a fast track to become really popular and famous these days.
There is. We all know what it is.
Yes, which is no shade, I guess I could say.
No, I mean, it's sort of like, it's this amazing thing. I think if I were a queen starting out today, of course I would look forward to getting on that TV show and doing my best, and I think it would affect the way that we express our drag and do drag, which is, I think there's a good side to it and a bad side to it, right? So the good side is that the TV show is so popular and it's so entertaining, and it's produced so many great talents who are touring the world, right? But it's also lifted drag in general to a more popular, and the popularity of it being successful enough as an art form that people can now do this for a living, and and shows you can charge a cover and people aren't going to scoff at it. Those are good things.
Well, the production value, that's what I think about with your shows too, is like, it's no shit show, it's really good.
Oh, thank you. We like to think of it as, we attempt to do like a Broadway show with no money.
Well, I think for years I've gone into things with like, this is going to sound really bad, but like lower expectations, because I remember times when like people just dress up in drag and they lip sync. They like spit on you.
Oh, that's okay. I'm very well protected. There's many layers before that saliva will touch flesh.
Yes, you have to protect. But the production value of all of your shows that I've seen has been so incredible.
Oh, thank you.
Which it's back to me praising you as like, you're like a drag artist, like star. You're not just a drag queen that puts on clothes and then lip syncs. You're like so talented. Like,
oh, thank you.
I want to kind of like drop the drag queen. You're just so talented in general. You probably didn't know I was such a big fan.
I had no idea. That's so nice.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I guess it's that thing where drag is this incredible medium that like people can use to channel parts of themselves. So for me, I was always a storyteller.
Yeah.
And so whether it was through making a movie or putting on a play, as a kid, that's always what I was doing. And so Peaches was this sort of conduit for me to go, oh, I can tell stories through this other person. And that's kind of the whole approach. I think whether it's drag or any costume, allowing yourself to be another persona sort of sometimes opens up parts of ourselves, parts that are in there, but it kind of taps into them and allows them to come out in ways that, I think that's why so many great artists do character, as an art form, and we don't even think about it as drag, but let's face it, Cindy Sherman is basically doing drag and then photographing it, right? So it's like, David Bowie, created a whole alternate persona, and I think it's because it allows us to do so much more.
Yeah. Anyway, I could talk about you for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Let's not.
I was going to say we could do a movie, but actually we'll touch base on this too because I wrote it. There is a movie. It's called A Wig and a Prayer.
Oh, there is. Yes,
there is
a new movie.
It's the story of Peaches Christ.
Yeah, that my friend Jeff made.
Jeff Schlag.
Jeff Schlag.
Which that name kind of turns me on.
It's have you met Jeff?
I saw pictures on Facebook page. Jeffrey Schlag.
Jeff Schlags. He and I went to film school together. Oh. And he was this really cool punk rock filmmaker who made a musical, a punk rock musical as his senior thesis film. And I always really admired him and what he did, and he actually was in his movie as well. We were the only two directors to be in our movie. Yeah, so he asked me if he could do this documentary about me, and I said, I really don't like that. I've done them before. I'm not a fan. I said, eventually, someday in the future.
Maybe when you're dead.
That's what I think. Do it when I'm done. Or at least retired. You know what I mean? Like, so there's perspective. He said, well, no, it'll just be like a little snapshot of this time in your life, which it really is, because he filmed it 5 years ago.
Oh, is that true?
And then his wife got pregnant. And so the movie sort of came to a screeching halt.
Right.
And I thought,
priorities.
I thought, I'll never see that movie.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit relieved, because again, I'm not a big fan of watching stuff about me.
Well, it's really focused on you and your life.
Yeah. And of course, he was filming me, behind the scenes and all that. So, and then his wife had another baby. And then
Jesus Christ,
5 years later, the movie comes out. I know, right?
World overpopulation.
It's true. That's what I should have said.
No, that's true.
But I congratulated him. And I haven't seen the movie yet. It premiered at Frameline last week, and I was in Seattle doing Baby Jane with Bianca Del Rio, and so the night that it premiered, I missed it, and Jeff was really bummed. I wasn't, because I knew I'd just be squirming the whole time.
Well, it's a whole audience sitting there watching you live your life, kind of bad.
It sounds horrible.
Okay. I was going to say something about...
This is the longest interview in the history of online interviews.
I was going to say Peaches probably gets a lot of dick, because look at those tits.
Well,
that would be inappropriate.
No, I can talk about that. I've never actually... There are people in my life who are literally famous for rimming straight guys
Probably
or whatever.
Hecklina.
Probably, yeah, please.
I love them just saying when you guys go at each other.
Probably. But I mean, like, she gets a lot of sex. I mean, even, in public and stuff, in drag. And I never have. I think Peaches is a little bit of a prude.
Yeah.
So I sort of, I can be all into horror and cult movies and outrageous women. But the idea of someone being attracted to me in drag is strange enough. And then drag is very uncomfortable. Like I don't feel very it's all an illusion. If I'm showing you that I'm feeling sexy, that's a lie.
There must have been. You do so many collaborations with so many of the new RuPaul girls, and then old celebrities, and when you do all your movies, the movies, then you do pre-shows. You bring in like actors from the original series and stuff like that. It's just amazing, your collaborations.
Oh, thank you. I mean, for me, I'm literally channeling the love that the audience has, because I'm a fan. I got into screening cult movies because I love movies and I love cult movies. So if I'm sitting on stage with Ricky Lake or someone who's beloved by this group of people.
I made a list of friendships you've made that I've noticed. John Waters, Mink Stoll, Elvira.
Well, those are three of the most special people because
they're special.
Well, they're literally heroes of mine.
Yeah.
I mean, as a kid, I grew up just worshiping them, and all of them, and they were idols. And so when they came and we did a show together, it was entertainment. It was show business. But it was after those shows that we continued to nurture a relationship. So for me, as a fan of someone like John Waters or Mink Stoll or Elvira, to actually have them in my life, I feel like a lot of people ask me about my friendship with them, because in some ways I'm sort of representing this sort of fantasy of when you really admire someone, especially as a child, and then to become friends with them. It's strange, even for me.
Yeah, those were the three notable ones, because I think I picked up on that, like, from your humor and your horror. I'm like, those are the three people I know that's just probably very special.
Well, and those are the three people that probably, aside from Tura Satana, who passed away a few years ago, I would say that those three, Elvira, Mink Stoll, and John Waters, I mean, I would count them as true friends and very important friends.
Well,
yeah.
It was funny, John Waters, we've never met in person, but a couple times in P-Town, of course, he's flown by me on a bicycle.
Right.
And there's also been two opportunities, and when I do meet him, because I will someday probably, I wanted to be very natural and not forced. Like, hey, Mike, come here. And there's 2 times that Peta and friends were out to dinner. One time they were at dinner with John, and like they called me, hey, come down, I'll introduce John. I'm like, hell no, that's so awkward and forced.
Why?
And then there was another time where like we're at a restaurant, John Waters is 2 tables over. I know you want to meet him. Come down here, I'll introduce you to me. I don't know, I felt very unnatural. I wanted to like just bump into him at the beach. I'm like, oh, like pick up his book.
Right.
Oh, John Waters. Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, obviously Provincetown's a great place for that to happen because he's kind of like all around. But now, he has an apartment here too, so it will happen, I'm sure.
But it's funny, there's 2 times, I think I was also nervous about meeting people who I've worshipped forever.
Right.
Sometimes little punk rocker and Mike, like Priestess, punk rock and John Waters and
I think he's, when I've been out with him and people approach him, I'm always so impressed with how nice he is. And I'll say that a lot of people approach him in this sort of, and Mink as well, in this sort of almost obnoxious way. Yeah. I think they think, oh, this will impress this person.
Oh, so they try to like audition of sorts.
Kind of, and I'm like, oh God, no, don't, because I think they actually are quite normal and enjoy just a normal social exchange. You don't have to pull your tampon out
or be a freak like, hey John, look, eating shit.
Right, exactly. That's what it is. A lot of that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I love P-Town. I go every summer now. I fell in love with that place. I
lived there for like a few months last summer.
I remember on social media I
was doing a show with Jinx, and it was a magical. That's what Jinx would say.
Magic.
It was magical. It was a magical experience, like doing that show and spending time in Provincetown. And I'm actually going back in less than 2 weeks. I'll be there for Bear Week.
I'm there the 13th to the 20th.
We'll be there at the same time. Nice. And that, coincidentally, full circle moment is the reason I'm going at that time is because Mink is going to be there. Oh, and the reason Mink is going to be there, she's coming up from Baltimore, is because she and John, I'm assuming this isn't private information, but they actually met in Provincetown. A lot of people think they met in Baltimore because they both grew up in Baltimore. And they did live close to each other, but they met in Provincetown as teenagers and started to make movies together back in Baltimore. And so this summer is their 50th anniversary of meeting. And that week that we'll all be there. So Mink told me I'm going.
I got goosebumps.
Isn't that amazing? 50 years of friendship. And she's been in every movie he's ever made, and so I'm so excited to be able to go. And I told Mink, I'm like, okay, well, any night you're not partying with John, we're gonna go see drag shows because of course I can get us on the lists, So I'm just gonna go and sit on the beach and see a drag show every night, maybe 2 drag shows.
That is my favorite thing about P-Town because I go there and being a non-drinker, I go in to see shows. Jinx. I've said this to the camera many times. Jinx is my all-time favorite.
Really?
Well, besides Peaches Christ, of course.
Well,
no, Jinx is my favorite.
Jinx is amazing.
I love her as just her talent, her singing, she's amazing.
Yeah. She is amazing.
Okay, but this is not about Jinx. She always kind of creeps in like a
I love Jinx.
Like a sneaky fart.
And actually, that show we do, Grey Gardens, we've done it in Provincetown, but this year we are doing it in San Francisco again. We're bringing it back, and we're doing it Portland, Seattle, and London and Manchester. Jesus, so I get to work with Ms. Monsoon a lot.
I want to see you guys travel with like little like gray pencil skirts, like a little top hat, like little roll bags.
Well, the show itself is actually about us, Jinx and Peaches, and it's set 40 years into the future. And the idea is we're in this dilapidated theater doing the same Grey Gardens parody for 40 years, and Jinx is really mad at me for manipulating her, and you don't really know whose fault it is. Is it the drag moms or the drag daughters? And now it's like coming true.
It's like Peach.
It's like we've been doing this show for 4 years, and so when we start acting it out now, it's kind of like, ew.
This is very...
It's very meta? Is that the right word?
Meta, yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know if hipsters
I like to sound smart, so I said things like meta.
Meta. It's funny, I met Jinx walking around P-Town, and it's funny because I'm like, hi, you don't know me, but I have a website, Axel the Bear, and we've tweeted at each other, and she's so friendly and so nice and adorable. I love Jinx out of drag. It's amazing. She's like, oh, I don't do my social media. And my bubble kind of burst. I'm like, oh, we kind of tweeted at each other. And she's like, no, my assistant probably tweeted at you.
Oh, that's funny.
The good times.
Yeah, she's hard to miss in Provincetown because like everyone kind of dresses the part. It's very Cape Cod. It's very like
flip-flops,
you know, like Binda La Creme. Binda La Creme like super dresses the part, like tank tops with lobsters on them and little shorts and you know docksiders and things like that. Like I love Binda La Creme's Provincetown looks, his boy looks, because he's serving looks, but he blends in with everybody else. And then that witch comes walking up Commercial Street in her big fucking, you know, black Malachi Isaac Children of the Corn hat and her big long black capes and her boots.
That's what she had on that day.
It's like, what is that? So,
and she was vaping too.
Yeah. God, she's obsessed with that thing.
Because she had, when I saw her, she had just her black engineer boots on and shorts and a big long black sweater.
Right.
And she's vaping.
Yeah. I think we've effectively convinced her to quit the vapes. We'll see.
And that's because we love her.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, I started to make her real paranoid. I'd be like, you really notice the difference in your voice. You know, I was being manipulative.
Yeah, I just see all of her tones going away. I do this by Rachel Maddow. She always circles.
Oh right, let's circle.
Rachel. She always circles. But she's real smart. Like if I wish I was Rachel Maddow.
She's amazing.
She's a genius.
Yeah.
I met her a couple times too, and she's just like. Just her girlfriend was here for an art show in San Francisco, and a friend of mine from high school represents one of those stories. And I'm like, Rachel Maddow.
Yeah,
Rachel Maddow.
I have a crush on her. I've always had crushes on butch women. Yeah. Like, you know, so definitely Rachel Maddow is like one of those people where I think if she were a friend of mine, I'd have a crush on her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To feel important and confident. You know, to let them know they are the top. So there is no question just who has the vagina.
Ever the faithful daughter, Mary's never too busy to visit with her mother, who convalesces in style at the Golden Twilight Rest Home. Mrs. Francine Fisher is the proud matriarch of the Fisher clan.
She-Devil.
Yeah, She-Devil.
She-Devil, which is Peaches' new show coming up on July 19th. 2 shows at 3 p.m.
July 9th.
July 9th.
Next Saturday.
July
a week from
9th.
This Saturday coming up. Yes. July 9th.
With starring Sharon Needles, Heclina, and Mario Diaz. And then 2 other people. I didn't write down their names.
A whole lot of times. Local drag queen who's kind of, you know, like legendary. When I moved here, she was performing at Finocchio's, longest running drag show. And Tim Wagner, who's a fantastic local actor who's in a lot of Bay Area theater.
That's good. So She-Devil, this is the first time you're doing She-Devil. It's a new show.
New show. It's the idea is that Sharon is a homewrecker. She's destroyed my marriage by seducing my husband. And she's a very successful romance novelist who is disguising herself as a cisgender straight woman. But the world doesn't know that it's actually Sharon Needles just writing gay pornography and kind of selling it to the masses. And so
Ruth Ratchet?
Yeah, I enact a lot of revenge on her. Yeah, Ruth Ratchet. That's my name.
Ruth
Ratchet. Real clever.
So for those who don't know the movie too much, so She-Devil was like, I'm trying to remember if I'm pop quizzing myself, it was like 1989.
Yes.
Starring Meryl Streep, Roseanne Barr, and blah, blah, blah,
Ed
blah.
Begley Jr., Sylvia Miles. Heclina is playing the Sylvia Miles character. It's like one of those movies that over time has grown its cult audience. You know, it was sort of not like a lot of the movies I love. It was not very well understood when it came out, and critics didn't really embrace it, and it wasn't a box office smash. But over time, a lot of people who love bizarre comedies, especially starring incredible performers like Meryl Streep. I mean, Roseanne is doing Roseanne, which is its own genius thing.
Roseanne is always just Roseanne in a show. Roseanne in this.
Yes, but it's this natural form of comedy that's very specific to her. But to watch Meryl Streep just like chew up every scene and do comedy, it's very like her performance in Death Becomes Her, where you're just sort of blown away by the level of comedy.
So are you excited about the show?
I'm really excited. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, all your shows. And I saw also, because it's funny when you follow someone on either Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, you pretty much see a lot of that stuff.
Right.
And I remember seeing that Roseanne Barr actually also...
Yeah, she tweeted at me the other day.
Yeah, like endorsing the show.
Yeah, she endorsed the show, and then I posted that she had endorsed it, and then everyone was like, well, she endorsed Trump, so that doesn't mean anything. And then
I didn't even know that.
Well, it was like she didn't really.
Yeah.
This magazine article manipulated her
Yeah.
words, and they actually had to retract it. So then other people were posting the article about she didn't,
Yeah.
you know. And I thought, God, Roseanne really, for years, for
Yeah.
decades, has known how to really like get people all riled up and stuff. And
whether it's true or not. Or...
yeah, I mean, if you look into it, I mean, Roseanne's kind of, I mean, I think kooky, but I don't think she'd endorse Trump.
Yeah, she's smart.
Yeah.
She's kooky, but not dumb.
Yeah. But yeah, she tweeted, I tweeted her the poster and invited her to the show.
Yeah.
And then she tweeted back, awesome. That's all she wrote.
That's
yeah.
perfect. That's
Yeah.
like... stamp
Right.
It's probably... You bring some people back from the original cast. That's just amazing.
Yeah.
They're
very
all names.
Well, like some of these big drag parody shows, like this She-Devil show will be this sort of big spectacle at the Castro Theater.
Yeah.
Like I don't think, like you, I think they come in with lower expectations. Like, oh, it's going to be like a little drag skit, and then they'll show the movie. You know, but what it is it's an hour-long, you know, extravaganza of drag queen sort of celebration and parody. You know, with an original script and performances and lighting and it's multimedia usually, and so when we have someone actually come from the movie, like the director of The Craft came, on his own accord. You know, he created The Craft, and all these years later, he's showing up at some drag queen show of it, and like he said later, he was like, that was better than the premiere.
Yeah.
You know, because when drag queens really love something, the audience is funneling their love of that same thing through you. So the energy at the Castro Theater for these events,
it's amazing.
It can be insane.
All of the events. Actually, I'm usually satisfied after the show. So when the movie showed afterwards, I'm like, all right, I guess I'll stay for the movie too.
Right.
I mean, of course, you want everybody to stay for the movie, but I know everyone satisfies their thirst.
Right. A lot of people don't stay for the movie.
I have seen that. I was going to say that, but because I know a lot of people are like, especially with actually Showgirls, I come every year.
Right.
And didn't you just celebrate the 15th, or is it?
No, oh my God. This
20th?
summer we're doing Showgirls the musical, and it's my 19th annual celebration. So 19th.
I was going to say, I've stopped staying for the movie.
Right.
Because I'm here for the show.
It's insane.
Well, this
year you have to come to this show because we're not screening the movie. We're doing a full 2-hour musical that we're bringing from New York.
Rachel Maddow, circle, smart.
Right.
So that's a great, perfect thing because we're going to go right into Showgirls the musical.
Oh wow, you had it there.
Oh, look.
Yeah, there it is.
Showgirls the musical.
Yeah.
So it's actually a musical play.
It is. So these incredible parody musical creators in New York, Bob and Toby McSmith, they created a Showgirls musical. And of course, at first I was like, I don't think I'm gonna like it. You know, because I was intimidated by it.
Do you sing?
And I do. I've been going to vocal lessons and everything. I play Crystal, and my big solo number is "You're a Whore, Darling." There's a song.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not going to sing it for you now, but you have to come and see me sing.
Well, people have got to be excited about that because I know people that itself is becoming a cult following.
Oh, this musical is hilarious, and we're flying in 3 of the original actors. When it played in New York, it kept getting extended over and over. Like what was supposed to be a few months ended up being 2 years. And the woman that plays Nomi Malone is so amazing. Yeah. And the other thing that's shocking about it is the women walk around topless. So it's Is
that allowed? What is nudity allowed?
It is,
Theater nudity?
Well, much like Hair and other productions that have had nudity, because it's part of the artistic production and we're doing theater. There's an allowance for that, so you're not buying a ticket to go to a titty show, or hopefully you're not. You're going to see a musical. The musical happens to have nudity in it.
Oh wow, that's exciting. So when is the Showgirls the musical?
It starts in the middle of August. I think the first night is August 10th. And then we run for a few weeks. And we're hoping that we get an extension.
You are busy.
I am, yes.
Busy.
I am feeling a little like maybe this year was a bit too ambitious.
You're busy because I feel like through following you with the social media, I feel like there's always another.
Right.
It feels like before you have one project, there's another project, there's another project, and they're all big. And then I remember seeing you in the San Francisco Pride float.
Yes.
And I was like, wait, how does she find time to like just lounge in the float in your nude outfit?
I just flew back from Seattle on Saturday, and then went and saw the Madonna documentary Saturday night, and then woke up early and got into drag. But the thing about my schedule now that's different.
Those rings.
Now, world domination is that it's all planned like a year in advance.
Yeah.
So most of this stuff was actually scheduled a year ago, and then what happens is I get offered new stuff. So the break times that I did have in there, the sort of like, I guess the FOMO, the fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to come to Seattle and do this, show with Bianca that you created? Well, of course I do.
Yeah.
So then in my break time, I'm going places.
Yeah.
So I do it
Josh.
to myself. Well, I was there as Peaches.
Oh, so but
I'll be in Provincetown as Joshua.
Joshua. It's Joshua too.
Yeah.
I noticed in our email correspondence, I kept replying to Josh. I'm like, no, Peaches is clearly Joshua. Right?
The only people who call me Josh are
Tricks.
it's my family. So it's very and we grew up with using, like, my brother's name is Jacob, so we called him Jake or Jacob, and I was called Josh or Joshua. And then in college, it just became Joshua, and then in San Francisco it was Joshua. So now when someone calls me Josh, I don't mind it, but I do think it's presumptive.
Random question, but like drag queens, how do they poop and pee? Like,
they don't.
I was gonna say, like, I know when like porn stars sometimes get ready for events or like take Imodium because they don't want to have bathroom problems.
Right.
But I guess if a drag queen doesn't, if, like, she's got to plan out her day, she just like doesn't pee or poop.
Well, it depends on the drag queen. So if the queen, has less on or whatever, maybe she's more comfortable with it. I personally have to kind of like.
I can't believe I'm asking Peaches if she poops.
Oh, I don't care. I would never poop after getting into drag. I think. Well, Lena and I talked about this at our Drag Queens of Comedy show in LA. We talked about shitting and drag and peeing.
Well, I always bring it back to shit somehow.
Well, the thing is, it's very challenging to just get out of it all.
Yeah.
And then to have to get back into it. So regardless of the reason, I just don't want to take the time to get out of everything I'm wearing just to pee and then get back in.
Well, maybe think
Jinx, I can tell you right now, like clockwork, will shit every night after putting on her makeup and before getting into drag. Regardless of the fact that she may be sharing a dressing room very closely with another person who then has to smell her insides for the rest of the evening because, she's just evacuated and now it's showtime.
This is a cutting edge story.
Yeah. Well, one time I asked Sharon Needles about it. I said, have you ever noticed that Jinx takes like the biggest, stinkiest shits?
I'm going to leave this in there, by the way.
I don't care. Jinx knows she shits before
Jinx
show.
shits.
I mean, she's a human being,
It's just about timing.
Yeah, she pretends that, well, she's like really polite about it. Like she'll go into the bathroom and blow it up and then come out and act like nothing happened.
She strikes me as like a vegan person, so I imagine her having stinky poops, like beans and lentil and
well, it's
spinach.
all that mixed on top of, alcohol and vaping or whatever.
This is gonna sound obsessive with Jinx, but like
Jinx would never watch this interview because we're this so far ahead that anyone who's actually watching it at this point probably isn't a drag queen who's gonna tell her.
3 people.
Yeah. Should we get in the bathtub?
I've been complaining a lot lately about gay media because it seems like the only thing that I get headlines and titles is if there's like a naked guy or there's a sex story. And there's a lot of like singers out there that like they're incredible talent, but the only time some of my favorite sites, Toll Road or Huffington Post, will post about the music if they're like there's a sex scene or they're like in a bathhouse, and I'm like, so like come on, gay media.
Right.
But anyways, I gripe about that a lot.
I mean, it's that thing where we live in I guess that clique society or whatever, and the sad part is probably all just based on results, right? Yeah. So that's who we are.
I was gonna say, and then running into Accidental Bear, I know damn well if I put if I put not safe for work, shirtless.
Oh, let's put that on this.
Yeah, I'm gonna think it's gonna be called not safe for work, gratuitous nudity, jink shits.
Yeah, look at my tits.
Titty fucker.
They're pretty dirty.
Yeah.
Dirty, we should probably put a warning on this video.
Dirty, filthy tit fuckers.
Yeah.
Fuck shit, nudity, gratuitous nudity. Let's say like Jake Shear stopped by and showed his cock. These are things that are gonna get. So I say things like that to get people to come to the site as well. And there's numerous posts a day that I get people to come look at, like model posts, like that are nudity, and I hope they come to the site and they also look at what else is going on. Because nudity gets the clicks. I'm a sucker for statistics, and it's like this all day. Gay news, not safe for work.
Oh wow.
And anything smart or thinking about queer arts and music, suicide, heaven forbid we talk about suicide. Then I post like certain actor, Justin Bieber, grabs his crotch in Hollywood show. I don't post about Justin
Gay
Bieber.
Gay people, you are depraved.
I know, we are.
I mean, how dare you? Okay. Did you hear about Justin Bieber? He shared a video of Jasmine Masters talking about like people having horrible breath, and Jasmine Masters now has like 7 million followers on Instagram or something because she was shared. But I think it's so great.
Yeah, it's like it's what happens in the world. That's why interesting. I'm sure you get a lot of interesting interactions with people on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that, because you can get so close to celebrities.
Right.
And I mean, you can clearly ignore them or just. But like, there's a lot of times I try to like nudge people. But there's different levels, and I know I'm down here bottom feeder, and so certain times I do things. I want someone like Jesse Tyler Ferguson to see it, so I'm like,
right. Well, I'm terrible at tweeting, so I'm not very good at that. But occasionally, like one time, this is how old I am. One time, dirt old, I was on the site Friendster.
I remember Friendster,
which was before MySpace.
Yeah.
It was really ancient, and this woman whose picture was Courtney Love and whose name was Courtney was like messaging me and saying like, what was she saying? Like, do you remember blah blah blah? Like these memories that I'm like, what is she talking about? And the messages were all messy and misspelled and like non sequiturs. So I kind of was like engaging with her, but then ignoring her. I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. She's like pretending she's Courtney Love or whatever. And then eventually I noticed that we had a friend in common, because even back in the Friendster days, you could see, and I looked, and it was this friend of mine who works for MTV. So I messaged him, and I said, this person pretending to be Courtney Love, what's their deal? And of course he wrote back, oh no, that's Courtney. Now what was going on was, she thought I was a drag queen friend of hers from Portland or Seattle. And so that's why none of it made sense.
She probably was trying to get drugs from you back in the
Oh, well, she was definitely kind of a mess when she was messaging me.
I know. There's been times on social media too, like someone friended me. This was years ago before I was like a little more smart too. I remember like Chaz Bono, like friended me on Facebook. I'm like, Chaz knows who I am. She's friending me. This is it. I'm gonna be at their house for dinner with Cher.
Right.
And then of course I'm like, Chaz Bono didn't just friend me on Facebook.
Right. Would you say that the majority of your readers are actually bears? Or
no, bears get mad at me all the time because they're like, have you ever seen a bear? Your content's not about bears, because there's not really a lot of bear content. One of the reasons why I started Accidental Bear was just because of how I look.
Right.
I was immediately put into the bear category, and I'm like, I'm really just like an art fag punk rocker.
Right.
We talked about that too. Josh is kind of a bear.
Yes, I am. I was on NPR's Wait, Don't Tell Me, probably the biggest show I've ever done as far as an audience goes. They have like 6 million listeners every week, and Peter Sagal said to me, "Well, what do you look like when you're not Peaches?"
Yeah.
And I thought for a second, and on National Public Radio, I said, well, do you know what a bear is?
Yeah.
And he was like, no. But of course, anyone who really knows me knows, I don't shave.
In between shows, just
I don't shave at all. So if I haven't done a show in a long time, I'll have a beard, or and I'm not thin, and I don't shave any of my body. So that's why there's all this, right? This is all fake illusion. Because I'm a big hairy mess. So
Peaches Christ is kind of an accidental bear.
I am an accidental bear.
See, well, that's kind of how it all started, and it's like, but it can be applied for any certain people, like their skin, because of their skin color. People can think they're this category, that category.
Right.
But bears get mad at me because it's not a bear site, and then I get mad back, and I'm like, well, there's plenty of boring, tacky bear sites out there.
Well, that's the thing is like the point of your site. It seems like is it's about stuff that interests you.
Yeah.
And so your audience is probably people like you, I would think, And honestly, I think partly we come from the same generation of people, and you and I like the same music and movies and stuff. So I think, because I look at your site only when there's erect penises. Yeah, exactly.
That is my bait. Ding, 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 ding.
Right.
Don't look at this.
No, I've actually been impressed by your queer music push.
Yeah, I love the music.
That's something, and as someone who's not a musician, but there is overlap there, and I've hosted, Homo Go-Go and friends with lots of musicians. I've always appreciated that.
Yeah. I'm still a riot girl. I'm 44. I'm a 44-year-old hairy riot girl.
Good.
She-Devil, July 9th, 2 shows at 3 p.m. and 8 p.m.
Yep, peacheschrist.com for tickets.
They're still available. Go. You won't be disappointed.
I don't think so.
At all. Sharon Needles, Hecalina, Mario Diaz, who I love. Mario. Yeah. He's another one of those old school that's been around forever.
Yeah. But doesn't look it. My God.
He is so humpable.
Yeah. Jackie has him.
Yeah.
I think he only has eyes for one drag queen.
Yes, and Mario's Club, Big Fat Dick. I just like saying Mario's Club. Have you been to Big Fat Dick?
Yeah.
What are you doing when you're here in Hollywood this week? Oh, I'm probably gonna go to Big Fat Dick.
I'm gonna do Big Fat Dick.
Yeah.
Okay.
At this point in your life, you've lived a lot.
Yes, I have. I've lived a lot.
You've lived a lot.
Done a lot.
But I was going, what excites you today as Peaches or as Josh? Like, what still excites you?
As Peaches, I still completely get off on and enjoy the drug, the adrenaline rush of an audience enjoying what you're doing. Whether it's a small audience or a big audience, it really doesn't matter. But like, I think performers are built with that need. And lately, without being too serious, I think with all the horrible stuff that's going on in the world, I think that what I'm realizing is, okay, comedy and laughter has a healing quality to it.
Yeah. And
maybe this is where I find some sort of deeper substance in what I'm doing. Because sometimes you go, you are a fucking clown and you're 40-something years old, But really, I'm kind of realizing, like, oh no, my job is to make people laugh.
Yeah.
It's to make people forget their stressful daily lives for a few hours. And when you feel that from the audience, it's exciting.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is Joshua, my biggest joys are like getting to go to a movie with my partner.
I see you and your partner because, like I say, follow him on Instagram. So that he is really attractive. Let me just say.
Oh yeah,
your man is hot.
I agree. He's very handsome.
I find him very humpable. I say that here on live TV.
Well, what's amazing about him is, I think he probably knows that he's attractive. But he's never acted like it. And when
that's the most attractive quality.
Well, he was so handsome when I met him on what essentially was a blind date. When I met him, I thought, well, this will never work. He's too handsome.
Yeah.
And then
you're like, out of my league.
And then kind of.
Maybe let me blow on
and
once
then
or twice.
We just started talking and like our philosophies about life and all of that were kind of. And then I had to come out to him as a drag queen, which is a whole nother hurdle that if you're a non-drag performer, you don't understand. Well, we have to come out to people that we date, because most gay men, I would say most American gay men, still hold on to a bit of like sort of self-hatred and internalized homophobia, and so it's usually a deal breaker.
Yeah.
You know, they can't see you any other way. So so when I came out to him as a drag queen, and English is his second language.
Okay.
You know, he's from Turkey. He said, I said, oh yeah, no. And by the way, remember when I told you I was a performer? Well, I do drag. And then he was like, oh, okay. And we kept walking, and I'm like, fuck.
Like,
he doesn't know what that means. Yeah, I'm like, I was like, I'm a drag queen. And he was like, oh, okay, you know.
Cool.
And then we kept walking, and then finally I was like, do you know what a drag queen is? And he was like, yeah, you dress in women's clothes and entertain people. And I remember thinking like...
You're like, I don't want to be your fetish either.
No. This was like the best part about it. Was like, it meant nothing to him other than, oh, that's cool, that's what you do. Cool. You know, it was very nice. Yeah.
That's amazing. So you were saying your time, I jumped in and asked that question.
Oh, yeah.
Your time as Joshua, what excites you still?
That's the most exciting thing, is like traveling with my partner, having a meal together, getting to see a movie. I think because my life as Peaches is so sort of chaotic and grand and sort of obnoxious, like I really enjoy just quiet stuff.
I hope your fans still like you when we talk today, because you're so regular and normal. Like, people, I'm sure, want you to just be crazy all the time.
They do, and people tell me they were afraid to meet me, or you know, this or that, and then they're like, oh, you're so nice.
Actually, that comes off on stage as well, because when you're on stage, you're so calm, you're so natural. It's weird. I've almost like, it feels like instead of getting nervous, because you can tell when someone's just nervous on stage, they're really calm. And
I try to just like, I think as the producer part of me, the writer, the director, that's where you would see me kind of stressing out and freaking out. But once the show is like up and it's happening, I'm like, oh, this is the fun part. Yeah, I enjoy it.
I said that was the last question, but the really last question is future collabs. Is there someone that you've dreamed about collaborating with, or would like to still? I mean, you've met a lot of your heroes.
Well, I would love to get to honor Elizabeth Berkley in person. Yeah. I would love that, maybe for the 20th anniversary. Or Gina Gershon. I love Showgirls so much, and so to bring either of those two. I think a dream that will never happen, but it would be a dream, would be to do a show with Faye Dunaway. And screen Mommy Dearest.
You know, Faye is a huge Axel Bear fan.
Is she?
No,
oh, wow. Well,
that's a lie.
And then the other one would be...
I'm a dry drunk. I'm a liar.
Well, you know, you can't be perfect.
I know, I can't blame all my sexual escapades, like on the way home at nighttime in alleyways. I can't be like, oh, it doesn't matter because I was drunk. I can't do that anymore.
I know. I can't blame it on anything. But the third person is Paul Rubens. I would love to do a show with Paul.
I just feel like that is in a future chapter.
Yeah, maybe.
How not?
He's been invited, and I've introduced him at events, and like we've hung out. He's very good friends with Cassandra, Elvira. So it's not
Cassie. I call her Cassie. Just kidding.
I've never called her Cassie. I should try that.
So I am so thankful that we actually finally got to talk.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
There's like a food chain and of performers and drag, and I feel like you're really up there at the top of the food chain.
Oh, thank you.
With like RuPaul and like the core who created drag and who's made it possible for all these youngsters to do what they're doing today.
I just wish I had RuPaul's bank account.
Joint bank account, bro. Yeah. You need to be on as a judge.
Well,
I'm sure everybody says that.
Yeah, and the problem there is that they don't have any drag queen judges, so that's
interesting. That's almost like having like some of these gay pride events and they don't hire any queer performers. You're like, okay, can you not bring back Taylor Dana again?
I think in some ways it makes sense because it's her show, it's RuPaul's Drag Race, so by being the only queen dom and then having the other
Queen
ones.
Dom.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I could have seen it working. I would love to see a drag race.
Silence!
Well, can you imagine Coco Peru and Varla Jean Merman? I mean, it'd just be amazing, right? RuPaul, Jackie B, these sort of legends of drags critiquing the queens. And I actually think it would change that whole moment at the end because I think some of us are listening to those critiques going, what?
Yeah, yeah. We could talk forever.
I know. All right, we should just sign off.
So please check out peacheschrist.com.
Yes.
For tickets for She Devil and Showgirls the Musical coming up.
Yep.
And everything you're doing.
Yep.
You're so
and I'm
busy.
on Facebook and Instagram
and she's on the cover of this book right here.
Yeah.
By Jose Guzman.
Yeah, Jose
Guzman Colon.
Alberto Guzman Colon.
Colon.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks so much.
Thank
you
you,
are
Mike.
going tonight to go perform or announce things.
Yeah.
Castro
Go over
Theater.
the Castro.
How long does it take to put on this?
The makeup's about
You're like what?
90 minutes.
Just
and I like to have between 2 and 3 hours.
And you do it all yourself?
I do, yeah.
I see you are pretty put together because I'm like staring at you for like
really?
For daytime.
I guess it's
you've done
a lot
it
of practice, yeah.
I took about 6 hours to do this. Trimming my nose hairs. Whenever I get ready for an interview, I always like douche. You never know.
Nice.
You never know what's gonna happen.
That's right.
You never know. Casting couch.
How many times have you gotten fucked?
From a bathtub interview?
Or just any
Maybe
interview?
twice.
Oh, that's fierce.
Maybe. Married.
Oh, right.
Anyways, okay, thanks so much.
Yep,
and
thank
I will
you.
see you at your show, She Devil.
All right,
Links
great.
below too. Yeah, they do this at the end of videos.
Oh, perfect.
They always say links below.
Links.
Subscribe. Do you have a
Thank
YouTube
you.
channel?
I do. Yeah.
You do.
It's like YouTube/Peaches Christ. Yeah.
Produce. You're like a whole empire.
I guess.
And you're only 23. That's
Yes,
amazing.
exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Hugs. Air hugs. Okay, that was good.